different marketing ways change. Like now we have ChatGPT, right? Like, so even don't feel overwhelmed. I really just want you to focus from now until December. Like just take that little tiny piece. Because I feel like for me personally, when I think, oh my God, so big, let's focus on these, on just these, getting these till December done, right? So week 3, she laughs at the days to come, building your 6-month marketing plan with purpose. Okay. So we've laid a strong foundation the past 2 weeks. Week 1, we built our menus, set our prices, honored our time, our talents, and the values we bring. In week 2, we aligned our boundaries, policies with purpose, protecting our peace, energy, and calling. Uh, Week 3, now we're shifting our eyes towards the future. Because when your systems are strong and your marketing plan is intentional, you're not just hustling in panic. That's really what I want you guys to not hustle and panic or scarcity. You're leading with clarity and preparation. Let's root this week in truth. She is clothed with strength and dignity, and she laughs at the days to come. Why does this matter for us as estheticians? Because laughing at the days to come doesn't mean we're carefree. It means we're prepared. We're not scrambling for the last minute promos, guessing what to post, unsure how to fill our books. We were built with wisdom, we've planned ahead, and we're leading our business with faith and structure. One of the things that when I envisioned the group, I remember I was an admin for a different group at the time. I think it was a moderator they invited me to be in. And I went to the admin of the group at that time. And I was like, I really want to bring brands to life. I really want to bring marketing. Like, I feel like so many estheticians, like, it'll be October 15th. And they're like, what should my October special be? When, like, you should start rolling it out the last week or the second week of October, already having your graphics and everything ready. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because I don't want you guys scrambling at the last minute, trying to figure out newsletters and all that. I really want us to be ready so that we feel prepared. And I also want you to take into mind, I'll be honest with you, when I did my first Black Friday ever, complete bust. Nobody bought anything for the first 3 years for me. And I want to be very raw with that. But that didn't mean I didn't stop trying and planning. I was trying to figure out my demographic and what was called, like what was attracting my clients. And I love sharing that with you guys because I don't want you guys to get discouraged if it doesn't work. That means you keep going, you keep trying. That's what true entrepreneurship is. You keep trying. This is probably the first year where I think I sold like 12 packages. It was, you buy 3 facials, you get a take home kit home. And I was so happy because it finally worked, right? Like, this was the first year people took advantage of my summer essential sales. But I mean, I have been solo since 2020, and this is the first year it happened. And I share that with you guys because I don't want you to get discouraged if it doesn't work. I didn't have a coach, I didn't have Allison, but I was trying to figure out as I was going. So I also encourage you guys to ask a ton of questions and come back into the group, come back into the chats and ask questions. That's why they were designed for. Allison, do you mind sharing it on your screen?
Sure. Give me a second. I gotta pull it up. Can I actually, I'm gonna pull up this Instagram real quick. I actually found a TikTok that I think would be like really relevant to this.
Cool.
Can I share that?
Absolutely.
Okay. When everybody goes on my, like, looks on my screen, like, don't. There's a lot happening. Okay. It actually doesn't give me the option to share. Oh, just kidding. JK, move on. All right, don't look at any of this. I sent it to you, Maria, just now because I was just like, there we go. Hopefully it'll play. Can everybody hear that or see that?
I can't hear it.
Dang. Okay, I don't really know how to make it being heard. It's actually a pastor that's rapping. Maybe I'll just put the link in there. Because it didn't work. No one can hear that?
No, I can't.
Dang. Okay. Well, never mind then. Okay. Never mind. I will send it in like an email or something for you guys, okay? All right. Am I in the I'm Here we go. All right. Share.
The reason why I wanted you to share it is because it's easier for me to let people in and mute people as you're going.
Okay, that's fine. All right, everybody. Hi. If you guys didn't see me the last few weeks, I'm Allison. I'm also in your group, in the Money Making Esthetician group, as one of the marketing coaches. So a great place you guys obviously find me is I'm in there, try to be daily, if not 3 to 4 times a week in the Money Making Esthetician group. You guys can also follow me on Instagram if you need to, more kind of like daily tips in there. It's Estheticians in Business. So I put that in the chat, but if you guys definitely can check that out. Also, okay, my chat went away. So if there is a chat come up, will you guys let me know?
Okay.
Because I don't know where my chat went. But definitely ask questions as we go through this, guys, because it can be a lot. Like marketing, I feel like a lot of people forget that it is a lot. There's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different things based on your personality, if you're introverted, extroverted, what your schedule looks like, if you have children, if you don't have children. So it can be a lot. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what our goal is to find something that you can do weekly, daily, monthly, quarterly, yearly, to where you're able to consistently market your business all the time. And something that I was taught a long time ago, and I try to remember it, and I hope you guys like hear me when I say this, but what you do today is you're going to start seeing the results 3 months from now. So like posting that like post on social media and saying like, hey, I have this discount. And you're like, why did no one buy it? Well, I want you to consider how you market to you, like how you purchase things. Okay. So when you're purchasing something, would you just up and spend $150 on a facial when you have no idea who this person is? When you have no relationship to this person? So just remember that when you're marketing, is that a lot of people say I'm bad at marketing, but in reality, you're probably just not being consistent or not building that relationship. The generation that is currently purchasing right now, so like your millennials, and some Gen X, but millennials and then Gen Z is really coming in. They're looking for that authenticity. They're looking for that, like knowing that you're like a real person, and they want that feel, they want that touch. Okay. So just keep that in mind when you're focusing on marketing and what that looks like, that you are remembering that these are people and how do you buy? Okay. Remember how you buy.
That's the one I've been paying
All
off.
right, so let's move on to our next one. So we're going to have a 6 month marketing strategy by the end of this. But let's first start off with what you actually want. Now, this is so important in every aspect of your business, because you could look at an esthetician who is wanting this, doesn't mean that you want the same thing as she does. Okay. So you want to make sure you understand when it comes to your marketing strategy, when it comes to how you build your business model, how you market to your clients, how you talk to your clients, what is your main focus. So for this particular one, we're going to focus on like, what is our main focus for coming up with a marketing strategy? Are you somebody who's like, you know what, I already have a buttload of clients, so I really just want to have, like maybe just want to make more money. Maybe I want to take time off, so I need to make some extra money. Maybe I just have like 1 or 2 little gaps in my week that I'm like, I want to fill that. Or maybe you're like, I have no clients. And if you're like that, you have lots of time to market. Okay. So we have lots of time to go through all this stuff. But you want to make sure you understand what the purpose is. So if you say you're launching something new, like a membership, or maybe you're doing like a new retail line, or maybe you're trying to get rid of a retail line and you're like, I need to sell all this stuff. When you're creating some type of strategy, you have to understand why you're doing that. And that's even part of like if you're doing like a promo, or if you're doing like anything along those lines, you want to make sure you understand why you're doing it. I mean, I have had seasons when I was a solo where it was purely like I didn't take as many clients because I was working on systems. I was working on making my life more automated because I was about to have a baby. And I was like, I can't be doing this all the time. And like I need to have like a little bit of an easier system, which I'd recommend for everybody, even if you're not gonna like have a baby. But also like I also want to take more time off. So I've had a season where I really need to push clients at the beginning because I was still building so that I could take more time off. I hope that makes sense for everybody. Does anybody have any questions about that in particular? I can't, oh, here's the chat. I can't see the chat. Okay.
I'm paying
Nobody
attention.
any questions?
If somebody asks questions, I'll let you know.
Okay, yeah, I don't know. My chat did come up finally. Okay. Let's go to the next. Okay, so let's talk about just nailing the basics. Now, the thing is that we forget is when we're focusing so heavily on getting new clients, you're like, I want new clients all the time, right? Yes, of course, we want new clients. We want clients coming in, but we also have to realize that a new client, a brand new client, is significantly more expensive to obtain than it is to keep a current client. And I mean that in the sense of usually there's a lot of time that goes into a new client, a lot of conversation. Maybe you're doing ads or you're doing some type of like marketing, like in a vendor or something like that. And it just costs a lot more money versus you got the client. Now we got to keep the client. So let's first talk about client retention. Pre-booking, and there's been a lot of people I've talked to that just don't feel comfortable pre-booking because their client will look at them and be like, I'll text you when I'm ready. They don't. Okay. Majority of the time they don't. Sometimes they do, but I also want you to realize, and I've said this a million times, if I were to go to a massage therapist and she doesn't pre-book me right then, I'm not going to reach out to her for 3 months until my body hurts. Okay. So a lot of times if you don't pre-book somebody, they're not even going to realize that they didn't have a booking until their skin's flaking off or until their melasma comes back after the summer. And they're like, what happened? So pre-booking is so important because it holds on to clients. That retention, the more your client sees you, the more money they'll spend with you, the more they love you, the more they're going to remember to follow, like to refer you. They're also going to keep up with their skincare. And I created something the other day where I was talking about selling product. And a lot of people just don't like to sell product to somebody. And that's a whole other story. But that is a huge part of retention as well, is that product, because people are going to see that return on their skin over and over and over again. But anyways, pre-booking is just so incredible because you can make it so natural. It doesn't have to be weird. All right. It can also be part of your system. It can be part of just like your consultation, the conversation. It just can be part of what you do in a business. So think about it in the aspect of say you are doing facials, or even if you're doing lashes or something like waxing, right? There's a typical time frame you want your clients to come back, whether it's a hair growth or you just, the retention of the lashes or whatever your treatment plan is for the facials. You basically talk to them about it in the consultation. You could be like, if you've never done this before, you could literally be like, yeah, so typically I see my clients every 4 to 6 weeks and then be done with it. That's the end of the conversation. At the end of the service, you could literally say something like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and, rebook you to see you in 4 to 6 weeks. I have this day available at this time. And then that's it. You don't ask them to rebook. You don't ask them if they want to. It's just like an automatic thing. It's just something normal. Like that's it. Like literally, this is a side note, but I went to the vet the other day and they just automatically gave me an appointment for my dog's appointment in like a year. And I was like, what is this? They're like, oh, just so you don't forget, you're already scheduled for next year. And I was like, oh, okay. In reality, I wouldn't have scheduled that for like a long time. But what I'm sharing is it's just something normal. It's natural. It's part of the process, but you just have to make it normal and like part of the process. Now, what happens? A lot of questions I get, what happens when a client is just like, um, I'll text you, I don't have my calendar. That is when you can be like, okay, that's fine. Or we could smash it up. We can mix this up. And you could say something along the lines like, listen, I totally understand that. I need my calendar too. Just so you know, I am booking up, even if you're not booking up. Okay. Everybody hear this. Look me in the eyeballs. Even if you're not booking up, look at them and say, I am booking up. I just want to make sure you get the spot you want. So if you want to go ahead and put something down, you can always reschedule if you need to. But do you have an idea of like what it could be? And then you can tell them a date. Some people are still like, no, I need my calendar. And then you're not holding them like hostage, right? So then, whatever. But at that point, a lot of the times people are starting to see that exclusivity. They're starting to see like, oh, my esthetician is actually a boss. They're starting to see that. And you also will believe that because you are booking up. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. So you have to kind of make it like a natural thing and not make it like a scary desperation, like, oh my God, she's in pre-book, I'm never getting her back. Okay. Make it something natural. And also remember that sometimes they say the average is like 25% of clients in a year will disappear, whether they're you're just not in their budget anymore. They move, their lifestyle changes, their choices change something. So also remember that aspect too. Okay. All right. So post-appointment follow-up. I personally love, depending on your process of things, I love like an automated follow-up initially where it's like, hey, thank you so much for coming, or thank you so much, your payment went through. Thank you so much, like just an automated thing, but also having that personal follow-up as well, especially if they're a first-time client, they just got a really aggressive treatment and they just like, you need to check on them, make sure they're like doing what they're supposed to be doing. You feel like you need to, or it's something that like is just like in your regular follow-up. If it's not and you're just doing like a basic facial, you can always follow up with them like a week later. How are you doing? But I think it's truly dependent on the service that you provided, the person, and the time frame. I hope that makes sense. If anybody has questions on that, please let me know. And then rebooking systems that don't rely on memory. So there's a few different ways you can do this. I personally love emails. I love text messaging where you can literally set up like to help them rebook. Something also that I like when it comes to rebooking, and it kind of goes along with the reactivation in here, is if say you have like an admin day, you use that day to follow up. Say like somebody didn't rebook or they're supposed to like text you to tell you what do they have available. You use whatever that admin day to text or follow up with them. It's just the thing you do in that day. It doesn't rely on any memory except for the fact that that's just what you do on that day. Okay. Does anybody have if you have any questions about client retention, let me know. So I had lots to say. All right, so let's talk about reactivation, how to follow up with past clients without sounding desperate. And then there's also like when it comes to the simple 3-message reactivate, there's a whole system. This all goes kind of go together. But one thing I personally love to do is when you have a client that you want to rebook, you can make it super simple. Like it doesn't have to sound like you're like, please come back. It can literally be like, hey, I saw you haven't booked yet. I saw you haven't, booked a date. You haven't messaged me. I'm just checking in. Is everything okay? Do you want to go ahead and get that, bookings? I have this available and this available. You can make it super, super, super simple. The simple 3-message reactivation sequence, basically what you're going to do is you're going to kind of follow up with them in like a text message or an email. Like, hey, we miss you, just checking in. How are you doing? If they don't respond, you kind of do something similar. And then your third one is going to be that we miss you promo or like a gift that comes with it. And remember when I just said about like the rebooking system that doesn't rely on memory? Basically, the best way I found to do this when it comes to like we miss you and to kind of choose, because it can feel like you always want to do a we miss you thing, but is finding or looking at your past clients who hasn't been in within 3 months and 6 months. Kind of look at that. And then on that like Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever your admin day is, you take like an hour or 2 hours, depending on how many clients you have that haven't come back in, and follow up with them and basically just ask them like, hey, just checking in. You haven't been in 3 months. I have this happening, this week. For this week only, when you book, you get free dermaplaning. Something that is high perceived value to them. So something that looks very expensive to them, but is low cost to you. Something that's very inexpensive to you. And you just let them know like, hey, during this week, if you book this week, you get this, like a gift or something. I wouldn't recommend doing money off because we need the money.
So
That's what we do.
we do have a question. I have questions about this process and systems. And then Gina said, I'm not getting the emails. I've signed up through the link. It's only Facebook group page. I will fix that ASAP. I'm having trouble with my virtual assistant. Ebony, do you mind turning on your mic if you feel comfortable? If not, go ahead and put it in the chat because she says, I have questions about the process and systems.
Yes, I'm here. And please forgive me because my children are home.
Oh, we love babies. You're fine.
Girl, you're going to hear my baby scream at some point during this, I'm sure.
All right. So here's part of what I have been struggling with because I do realize that these things are important, right? when it comes to the outreach, the pre-booking, the post-appointment follow-up, email, yada yada yada. And it's of course, best to have everything automated. So I guess my question is, what system do you guys use right now? What I have access to, I have a system, my booking system that is not a very popular one, and I've had it for some years now, and it works and it doesn't work. It has some limitations, but then they have like a lot of workaround because they're so small, right? And so they have like the marketing avenues that they can have with emails and even the text messaging, which they charge like $20 per text message if you want to send that out, which that can get a little pricey if you're doing that pretty regularly. The emails, I believe, are free. And then I also have MailChimp, which I have the free version. And of course, with MailChimp, there's only so much that you can do because your system isn't feeding it the data that it truly needs to kind of like, so there's limitations there too. So my question is, what systems are you ladies using? And if those systems are separate from your booking system?
So that's a great question. And that's a lot of money for text messages.
Yeah.
If you want to use text messages more often, there's a lot of like really inexpensive text messaging services that are outside. And that's the other downfall to using something outside your booking system. Unless there's something, I haven't currently found something that connects to a booking system directly. So you guys, if you have one, please comment it or pop on and say something. But you typically will have to like update it manually or have like a virtual assistant or somebody do it manually, which can get very frustrating. But there is something I used to use was called Project Broadcast. And it would basically, it could link to a lot of places, but I wonder if Project Broadcast, if you use something called Zapier, Zapier, I think, it's supposed to be an integration app. I wonder, I don't know if it does in your particular situation, but it may help integrate into certain email systems. Just look into it. It's an integration system called Zapier.
Yeah, I've heard of it before, and I think I just never guessed to ask the booking company if they can integrate at all.
Yeah, no, I mean MailChimp is pretty good. I personally use ConvertKit, but it does a lot of integration, but I've never had it integrate to a booking system. Have you ever considered moving to a different booking system that allows you more of that integration kind of things?
I have. It's just a matter of that's the thing. It gets so tough when you have to like make a big move like that because you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I already know this system. I will have to learn a completely new system that I have to load everything. And what am I going to miss out on that I'm actually getting here? So I think that becomes the battle, and that's a whole project in itself.
Yeah. No, it really is. I totally understand that. I remember when I moved from Gloss Genius to Vagaro, Gloss Genius would not export out any of my contacts. So I had
Wow.
to manually put in like hundreds of contacts into Vagaro. But that was the one I used, and I personally really liked it because it allowed me to do a lot of things with it. Let me see if anybody put anything in the chat. Yeah,
Hi.
Vagaro text message is free, up to 200 messages, which is nice. Somebody said Gloss Genius has built-in free email text messaging reports. And she's for weekly newsletter. Somebody uses Flowdesk, but they use Vagaro for text messages. Vagaro, that's what I use, and I really, really loved it. No, they charge for text. I'm changing this month, so this is up July 20th. Really? I guess if they recently just did that. I remember I had to pay if I went over a certain number. But yeah, that would probably be my suggestion, is to maybe look into something that's a little more integrated. I know it's a lot, but eventually it would be worth it.
And then my other question is, for you or anyone who wants to chime in with like who's using Vagaro and Gloss Genius. I know ConvertKit most likely will do it, but like, are you able to see the numbers, like see who opened it, see if they clicked the link and things of that nature with
I know in Vagaro you could. This was
Mhm.
like a few years ago, unless they've changed it. You could see who email was able to see. You were able to see all of the data.
Yeah.
ConvertKit, you can see all of that, and it's glorious. You can actually have it resend to people who like didn't open it.
Okay. And what about
Mhm.
Gloss Genius? Do you know if they provide the data for email
I
marketing?
am not sure. I used them like 4 years ago. So let me see if anybody in my chat went away again. There we go. Did anybody know about that about Gloss Genius? Yeah,
I
someone
don't
said I
think
don't think so.
we can find out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry,
I
that's
have a start
frustrating.
free version. You can send text for free, but not a lot.
Okay. I think we just all need to just come together and just create a whole new system.
Yeah. Now I heard there. I think it's like Mega Mint or my gosh,
Mango Mint. Mango Mint. I've
Mango
heard of
Mint.
it. Yeah.
I think it's a little bit more. I think it's pricier, but I
Yes, it
understand they're
is.
very like involved. Like the integrations are crazy in there. Like I understand they will follow up with everything individually. Like I've seen a lot of like much bigger like or bigger like med spas or something like that that have like employees and a lot of stuff that they use Mango Mint, and it's very helpful. But on a smaller scale, we're still kind of doing stuff on our own, right?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, guys, move on to our next slide. All right, so oh, that was that three? Are we already on the third one? Yes, okay. All right, so let's talk about part 3, seasonal strategies, fall plus winter opportunities. Okay, so guys, now this is, and a lot of people look at me wild because I'm like, you got to get out in person. Now we are going to talk about, I think my next slide is from introverted estheticians. But if you guys are feeling brave and you're not necessarily extroverted, these are really great things. These are one of my favorite things to do during this holiday season because people are out and about. They want to see what you have. Like people are shopping. I think about it like every Saturday I go to a farmer's market and I'm looking at what people have. There's somebody who does permanent jewelry at my farmer's market and she's always busy. But anyways, basically using things like pop-ups and markets or like vendor events. So like on here, I have like a Harvest Fest, Small Business Saturday, using things where people are putting together like holiday events to come and either showcase what you offer or use that as a lead generation like system. So basically, in a nutshell, when it comes down to like, we'll start with the kind of the markets and stuff like that. What I love to do was use that as a time to gather people's like information, in a sense as like their emails, their text messaging, or their phone numbers, their names, and get them to kind of just even know who I am, like a brand recognition kind of thing. And basically, what I did, and I can send more information to you guys about this, but basically, I would have like a spin wheel and I would do like an enter to win kind of situation. So say someone is like walking by, I'm like, hey, did you get a chance to spin the wheel yet? And they're gonna be like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, come spin the wheel. And so what they would do is they would spin the wheel, but before they spin the wheel, I would explain to them the giveaway. So depending on the situation of what you would have, me personally, I would be giving away for free a 60-minute signature facial. So basically, and that was just to one person, okay? Eventually, like I would do that later on. I'm like, I'm doing a giveaway for a 60-minute signature facial. All you have to do is enter and spin the wheel. Regardless if you win the facial or not, on the spin wheel, you get whatever you land on. So on the spin wheel, there'd be like things that were high perceived value to them. So stuff that was something that they would view as maybe expensive and low perceived or low cost to me. So I would put like LED on there or gua sha facial, like a, with a stone. Or I would do like cupping or dermaplaning, something like that. You do a hand mask, foot mask, whatever. And then so no matter what, they won what was on the spin wheel. And within 24 to 48 hours, I would call them, I would text them. And this is when a text messaging service comes in handy, or you can do it manually. I did it manually for many, many years. And you basically just shoot them a text message saying, hey, I haven't done the drawing for this yet. I'm the spin wheel lady at this farmer's market. But you did win X, Y, and Z. Okay, make it cute. And then do you have a second to hop on the phone and we can go over the details? And basically you get them on the phone and you talk to them about like what they want. But the key with this is it goes with a facial. So a third, or it goes with a service, right? Whatever that is. So say you're a lash artist and you have an LED machine. You could do LED on somebody's chest, or you could do like those hand masks, or it could come with like a goodie bag, something that would make people excited. Okay. And you just ask them if they want to book. And then basically they say yes or no. Now, this does take some follow-up and some system. That's why I said text message service really helps. And you have their email. So email service really helps as well. But you can do this manually as well. And let me tell you, if you don't have clients, you have the time. So if you do have clients, the text message service may be helpful. But those are some great ways. And you could have like a brochure and business cards there. You could have things, maybe something branded you could give away. The idea is I see a lot of people will do these markets or something and they immediately offer people to purchase. But I want you to remember, and that's you can do that. And I feel like a lot of med spas will do that. It can be really helpful because it's maybe like a bigger brand. Like if say like there's a ton of massage envies around me, which is like a big franchise here. And like if that somebody like that went to a market and they're offering packages, they're offering to become a member of that franchise, that makes more sense than if like somebody who's a brand new solo esthetician shows up and there's like, buy my packages, right? Buy my bundle, buy a service or book an appointment. They don't necessarily know you. So the idea for this is for you to be building like a brand recognition for people to recognize who you are. Now you could always do like, I always recommend doing something like a vendor event or like some type of market or something like that. What I love about pop-ups is that you can also just like go to a coffee shop or something, go to a local business, and you could essentially partner with them where it doesn't have to be like a big deal, but you could still do some type of giveaway. And I say giveaway because it's funny, I actually talked to my students about this the other day, but I mean, have you ever like as a kid not wanted to go to something and you just blame it on your mom and you're like, it's my mom, I can't go, my mom said no, and you haven't even spoken to your mom yet? Or like for me, there's sometimes I don't want to go to something, I'm like, oh no, Jesse, my husband needs me, I can't make it to that, you know? If you're just too nervous to just say no, you know, my baby needs a nap. Okay, this is the same concept. If you're petrified or scared to talk to things about people, talk about things to people, that doing something like a giveaway, you can blame it on the giveaway. Okay, doing a pop-up or a partnering event with somebody, you could literally have like little clipboards, maybe like a with like little entry slips, and I'll send you guys all these details too. But like stuff like that, or you could always have like a QR code where you could like have somebody scan to like enter to win something. You could also just make it, if you're like, because I recommend always doing something where you're capturing leads, because once you essentially have somebody walk away from you and you have nothing to attach to them, you're just taking that ball and putting it into their court. You're like, oh, well, I hope they don't throw away my business card. Oh, I hope they don't, just forget about me, because I'm going to shove a business card in my purse. I'm going to walk away and I'm probably not going to remember. Let's be honest. So having someone where you can follow up with them, even if you're like, you could do an additional giveaway to, or additional entry and follow me on Instagram. That's always a great way to do it. Something I actually did every single Halloween for years was I would do like this similar giveaway for people. But I would do it in my driveway because people were coming. This is before I had a child. People were coming to me to get candy for their kids. And typically they have moms, or parents. And so I'm like, yeah, for the parents, you guys can get this and enter to win this. And it was free and it was awesome. Now, obviously, if you're like, you're trick-or-treating, obviously that's different. But like, I was childless and I was, just giving out candy, and I also was building a business. And then lastly, doing like theme services or packages. So this is always a great thing to do, especially you're kind of feeling out what people want and what they don't want, is like knowing, like doing something that's fun and themed, because people love themed things. So say you love Halloween, or say you love Christmas, doing things that are like the color of Christmas, you know, the color of Halloween, doing things that are like back to school things. People love that because they're like, oh, I need this, you know, especially like after all that school shopping. I don't know if y'all have been to the mall lately, but I did. It was horrible. And there were so many people there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, all these moms and dads are going to be so tired. This is so much. So those are a lot of things that I want you to think about. And you have to remember that seasonal things need to start being kind of thought about now. Okay. You need to start thinking about them now because just like Maria, the very first time I ever did a Black Friday sale, somebody was just like, oh my gosh, sound like NASCAR.
I'm like, what?
But anyway, somebody was just like, when I asked my clients, like, why didn't you buy? And she was like, I don't even know what you're talking about because I planned it so close to Black Friday that she didn't even know about it. You have to remember that sometimes it can take 8, 9, 10 times of showing something over and over and over again before people realize that they need it. Okay. So does anybody have any questions about like this section of it? Because that was quite a bit. I can't see the chat again. Here we go. Oh, thank you.
So I do
Okay.
farmers markets. It's once a month in my area.
Oh.
And I feel like it's playing the long game is how I look at it because I'm just out there like getting my brand out there. I live in a small town and I have retail that I'm like, trying to sell, but really that's not the focus. The focus is like you were saying, getting leads and getting them to know who I am.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That is truly what she said was it's the long game. This business, if you're trying to do like a microwave business, you're in the wrong thing. Just don't run a business. This isn't a microwave kind of thing. This is the long game. We're slow roasting right now, right? We're cooking a roast, okay? It's slow. So you guys just want to make sure when you're doing stuff like that, you're focused on people seeing you. And the thing is to show up very, very consistently. That's why I recommend, and I don't think I'm talking about it in here, I recommend if you ever heard of a BNI, is look into a BNI. It's a Business Networking International. It's basically where you show up every single week and you talk about your business. Same thing like a Chamber of Commerce, something where you can get involved in the community because if people don't know who you are, they don't know who you are. So you can't be mad at them when they're not booking with you because you've never shown up anywhere. But okay. Okay, somebody said, I find it so hard to think through ideas for a pop-up as a facial or a lash. Brow for it as esthetician, like what can I offer? Like the spin in the wheel. So pop-up to actually really okay, yeah. So I feel like pop-ups like in that situation, like at a coffee shop or something, maybe just aim on just doing like lead generation. But say you go to like a gym or something, right? I feel like you see people at gym doing like different kind of services. I definitely feel like you can always show maybe instead of showing like an actual demonstration of lashes, you could maybe have like I don't know mannequins or a ton of pictures or something that like show different options because as someone who does not get lashes, if you gave me a name of a lash or whatever, I would have no idea what you're talking about. So if I was interested in lashes or even if I didn't know I was interested in lashes and I walked by something that would show me like I don't have to have these crazy looking lashes. I could have just very gentle, like fluffies. I really don't know what any of these are, guys. Then that would be something that I would be interested in. Same thing with brows, right? Or even lash tints. I've always been interested in lash tint, but I've never looked into it because there's never been anyone around me who does it, if that makes sense. But the spin wheel makes it super easy and it makes it exciting. Side note to that also, if you guys do it, go ahead and get some like beads or like wooden flowers or something that someone's going to hold because if especially in a busy area if you do this and you could be like hey did you get a chance to spin the wheel and they already have it's kind of a turn off so you want to make sure you can give them like something that would like put on so you see them and you're not going to ask them that question again. Trust me, years of doing this, it helps, it works. But it's also really fun. People like it and you can get them for fairly inexpensive on Amazon.
I try to do well. My goal is to do 4 pop-ups a month, so like every once a weekend. I've only been successful this month twice, but what I actually found really, really helpful is I made a link. I'll show you actually. I made a link on my website. and I have them scan the QR code because it means I already get their info and I can retarget them. So I literally
Perfect. Yeah.
they scan this, it goes straight to my website. So it's basically like on my I'll show you. On my, I think I have it here. So Wix has I use Wix and Square. So you go to the Wix. Ding, it's coming up. I have, this one is for the beauty plugs. I have 2 websites. And then you go to forums. Can you guys see? So you see,
Kinda.
does it look better?
Yeah.
So there's the model
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
and you see my pop-up. Those are all my pop-ups.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying with the QR code. That's perfect.
Yeah, and then you just retarget them. So like she had to calling somebody 48 hours, and you have to really do it because if you don't, then they're not warm anymore, and that's my problem. I'm not fast enough.
Yeah. You're definitely gonna follow up, but you can always create like a system to help you follow up with that. But say you don't have Wix or like a website, Google Forms are heckin' free, guys. Like,
And Jotform.
Yeah, huh?
And Jotform.
Yeah, exactly. Something that is easy for you that you can kind of keep all in the same place. Those are all very, very free.
I personally like Jotform more than Google Forms, and I'll tell you why. People have to log in to Google, and there's always like that extra step, which I don't love. I actually
Yeah.
Jotform is quicker and free than Google Forms. I do love Google Forms because you make it look all great. I mean, you can do that too with Jotforms. I just found that if you don't have the website, Jotforms was better for me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I wonder if they check that out. Somebody says, so do you book them or just for just that service, or they have to purchase a facial to get the mask or whatever? Yeah, so say if you're talking about the spin wheel thing, so basically say they win like a free jelly mask. It is part of that service. You can always say that's part of like your spiel. So say you're like they spin a jelly mask and you offer a 30, 60, and a 90-minute facial. She's like, oh my gosh, you won, the free jelly mask. This does go with a 30-minute service or 60-minute service, whatever you prefer to talk about. And they're like, okay, I'm like, just so you know, the service cost XYZ, but you do get, this free jelly mask with it. Some people are going to say no, and that's going to suck, but it happens and it's okay. The goal is, and I want you guys to really focus on this, right? It's 2 things, really. What you do today, you're going to see the result, start seeing results of it in 3 months. So you got to push through. And 2 is chase the no's. If you chase the yeses, you're going to be sad every day. But if you chase those no's, you're winning every single second, right? And then as soon as you get a yes, it feels so amazing because you've maybe gotten 10 no's. Because our body, our life, or everything is built to be negative, right? Like our brains, and you have to retrain it to be more positive. But the majority of the population is still built for that negative. So if you chase those no's, it feels a lot better. But yeah, you just make it super simple. They have to pay for something and get the mask, because if you're just having people come in now, if you're doing something like if you're brand spanking new and you need like maybe some models, I definitely had some of my friends come in and be models for totally free, right? I needed their picture, a video, I needed their opinion, I needed that stuff. But even when I talk about model methods, which is one of my favorite ways to get a lot of clients quickly, but like when I talk about a model method, I'm still having them pay something. It's not necessarily my normal price, but it covers my costs. It covers the basics, okay? So you want to make sure you're still having people to pay. What can we offer back to school? I do facials. Girl, you can make it whatever you want. I think that's the thing. Try not to overthink it. So you could literally make it like, I don't know, mommy's relaxation. I don't know. And it could literally be like a 60-minute facial with, I sold jelly masks like crazy because I would be like, my moms love this. They get to just disappear for a moment. They just, their eyes are covered, mouths covered, whatever, however you do your jelly mask. You can still breathe. And I would just let them, you could just be, and you get a hand massage while you do it, adding things in there that would maybe make like a mom or dad happy, they get like, maybe it comes with a dermaplane or something.
Can I add something that is killing it for me right now? I took the Green Envy course, and there is a gosha neck thing, which I'm gonna try to do it on my Instagram, like my tutorial today. I have my friend coming in to shoot content. doing the jelly mask or doing some kind of mask that just sits there and working on this part of the neck,
Mm-hmm.
my clients are asking to rebook. So maybe for the back to school, you can be like neck massage and you're just shooting reels of you just doing the gusha on the neck. People are like, I didn't even realize how much tension is on there. It feels so good. Megan
Absolutely.
said, can you talk more about model calls? I've never done one, but need some newbies.
Yes. Can I answer the first?
Yeah.
I'm going down the list. Okay, I will answer that one. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, gua sha is just incredible. If you tell people that get to work on this area, 100%. Okay. So for the pop-up, do you give a service of the pop-up in real life? How do you attract? My vendor samples are so expensive to give out. Okay, let's talk about also saving you some moolah. Okay, I will also send this to you guys. Let me write this down. Hold on, I can't do both. All right, so on the Amazon, there's like these little like sample things you can get. Little things you kind of look like you could put like a pill or something in. I don't know. They're like in a circle, little plastic things. You also can get actual like when you have the samples that come out of like the little package, like the almost like it looks like ketchup package. You can literally get some of those as well if you chose to. But anyways, make your own samples. Those samples that come from vendors, especially at this stage, right? And you could literally have like you can print off little stickers or something, and you can do that basically for free. You just have to buy this if you have a printer already. You can just buy the stickers. You can go into Avery.com. I'll write that down too. Avery.com, create the stickers and put them on the thing because I know those samples are expensive. But in reality, save those samples for your clients. But you could literally, if you want to give something for free, give something that's like I'm going to throw a sample in my purse. And you don't know somebody's skin, right? So I would honestly save those samples for free unless you're performing some type of like service during the pop-up. But honestly, I save my pop-up. If I do pop-ups, I'm there for lead generation. I'm there for branding. And Maria, I don't know if you have anything to add to that. Because I think it kind of depends.
Well, okay. It really depends on marketing, right? Really depends on, for me, this is me speaking, where I want to go. So I really want to be a store also than just treatments. So if people aren't able to afford treatments, I would like, because I have a storefront, I would like them to be able to walk into a store. So I'm also handing out samples, and I have like these really cute samples, and I'm giving them a full regimen. So I give them cleanser, toner, whatever, a melanin defense thing, whatever their skin concern is. And then I'm like, hey, I have bigger sizes at the shop. Go ahead and use this. And then I will call them 2 days later and be like, hey, did you like those? I am, what the time? It was my summer sale. I have 20% off my summer sale. So I personally love samples. And then every client that comes in, I send them home with either a regimen, and whatever they didn't get, I will send them home with a sample.
No, I love that. I think it really, like you said, it really depends on what your goal is. Like if you're at the point in your business where you are trying to get people to come in there, I like as far as with the retail section of it, I think that's a great idea. But if you're somebody who's just like trying to focus on one area, which kind of sounds like that to me in this, then maybe kind of focus on the more of the lead generation, getting them to know them, still following up with them. Because I mean, honestly, unless you have the time to sit and like talk to them about their issues or concerns, because sometimes, I don't know if you've ever been to like a bridal event or something. Sometimes you have people come up to you like this, and you don't really have time to talk to them. So it really truly depends, I think, your wants and where you are of whether you do it or not.
I would say at my pop-ups, the reason why I have time to talk about that is while I'm speaking, like getting them, I have my girl doing the treatments. So she's talking about the treatments and I'm talking about the retail and where I'm at. I'm actually going to start implementing, but I'm too big of a chicken. I want to start telling them if you book today, you get half off. But I'm a chicken because what if I'm like, oh my God, I'm even scared of that. But nope, we are Proverbs 31 women and we're not going in fear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, if you're in a place where you are at that, where you're just like, you know what, I do want to perform those things and you have the ability to do it, then absolutely do what Marie said. I think it's a great idea. But if you're somebody who's just like starting out and you don't really know how to go and you feel kind of overwhelmed being pulled everywhere, then maybe start with just something a little bit smaller and just kind of building your confidence in the sense of like just communicating with them, talking to them,
I actually found it really difficult because I always wanted to do pop-ups, but I didn't know you can't cleanse. So I have the glacial device. That's actually why I invested in that device, was because I wanted to do pop-ups, and you could do 10-minute treatments just with the moisturizer. And it's also like
Oh,
I do the gym, so it's like you're not gonna I don't need to know if I can't do exfoliation on them. I don't know if their barrier is impaired. I don't know what they're coming in with. So just being able to do their 5-10 minute treatments and then feeling it has been helpful for me. But like before, I mean, I had the dermabrasion device. I just like, but then I have to cleanse them, and like, what if it just was very scary to me to put a diamond tip and not know what I'm going into in public. You know what I mean?
yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely feel like in a gym, that's like a great place to do services. Because I feel like people are expecting it, you know? Like I feel like I went to this Gold's Gym forever ago, and you always saw chiropractors in there, massage therapists in there doing like pop-ups, stuff like that, just doing a little bit. Or you could also always do stuff on the back of people's hands. Um,
I love the back of the hand.
People love that, and it's really, really awesome. It doesn't take very long. You could literally just have like little sample setup where you walk them through like step 1, step 2, step 3. It's honestly something that you could do depending. I feel like it depends on really what you want. You know, like if sometimes when there's so much happening at a stand or at a like a pop-up, you want to make sure that you are really honing in on that one thing that you want. So if you're like, I have a ton of clients, but I want brand recognition for people to learn what my services are, perform them, talk about them, be part of it. If you want to sell more retail, do that. If you need clients, focus on lead generation, building relationships with people. So just make sure you kind of understand that, okay?
So
Um,
Ebony said she has something to add to this.
Elena Page.
Hi. Really quick. So one of the things that I would do, or that I do when I'm doing vending events, like I have a whole little like printout of like how it's going to go, like the different promos that I may do, the different like services, if you will, that I will do, just to kind of like organize my thoughts. So I put everything in there, and I'll have different variations of things too, depending on what type of event that it is. So then I'll know, just kind of like going into it, what the variations of things, because you don't necessarily have to stick to one thing, and one thing may not always like work or whatever. And then also too, like if I have an assistant with me, what the role of that assistant is, and just kind of like typing everything out so that I'm not always relying on my memory. So I think these are really great like ideas. And if people are starting out, they could probably try one or the other, but then just list them all and just try different things and see what works, because like you said, you don't want to overwhelm yourself with trying to do too many things, and then you might forget what you did the last time, or whatever the case is. So just like writing it down, I'll always pull that up if I'm going to a vending event, and I'll be like, okay, this is what we're going to do, these 1 or 2 things, and then that's it.
Yeah, no, it's great. Keeping it simple.
I really love what Allison said about lead generation. I think one to keep in mind, the whole point of doing these things is to do lead generation. You need first name, last name, phone number, email address, whatever the concern is, whatever you're trying to sell or get people to rebook. I actually got, when they come in for my pop-ups and my model calls, they are in an email sequence. So the first one is like, thank you so much. And then I'm trying to push my memberships. So my end goal is to get everybody on my memberships and also be known as a store. So those are my 2 like whys. Somebody said, so you're saying you just cleanse, moisturize, and call it a go? Sorry, I missed it. That was Megan. So no, I don't even cleanse. They get out, I put moisturizer on their face, and then I do a 10-minute glacial all over. And during that entire time, I'm telling them about the skin concern. I'm asking about their skin concerns. I'm telling them about the treatment. And then I kind of take a little bit of notes of like what their skin problem is. Like Ashley doesn't have a regimen. She never had a facial, anti-aging, skin tightening. And then I'll call her back and be like, hey, Ashley. So I don't even cleanse. It's just a moisturizer. But that's why I invested in that device, because I wanted to get out in the public.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay, so real quick, 2 questions about model calls. So model calls, I do something called a model method, or I did something, this is what I teach my students as well. So basically you utilize a few different things. I personally loved using Facebook groups, and here's the trick to Facebook groups. Facebook groups is you need to find one that is not not esthetician based. Okay. So you wouldn't do this in any esthetician based group. So you want to do this one in one that you, in a group you enjoy. So say like you're a mom, find like mom groups near me. Or if you have you're a dog mom, or if you're a woman and you want to do, there's always like women's groups. Like in basically you go on Facebook, you go into Facebook groups and you type in, so like I lived in Orlando, and basically what I typed in there was like women's group, Orlando, Florida. And of course it's Orlando, so it populated a ton. But even here, I live in a very small town now, and there's like 50 women's groups. And basically what you do is you find one that relates to you. So think of anything. If you're like a makeup artist and you do brides, find a bridal group. If you are somebody who, is like a soccer mom or something, you know what I'm saying? Like think about things that are relatable to you. Okay. And you basically type that in, and then whatever your city is. And then it needs to be an active group. So an active group meaning they're posting. It's not just, one person is posting constantly, but people are active. They're commenting on things. They're interacting. They're asking questions. Typically, you'll see like people like, where do you get the best facial or whatever? You'll typically see questions like that. But basically what you do is you create something very simple. Like, hey, I'm an esthetician in XYZ, and I'm offering a new service where I'm looking for models to do it at a 7. I always say keep it high. I know, don't lose your mind on this, but like a 70% discount for only exclusively to 5 people. That's it, whatever. And then like DM me if you're interested, or DM me like in the comment, or comment me in the comments, and I'll message you. And basically you just message them and talk to them. Now 5,000 people are most likely going to comment, right? And the first time I did it, I had like 70 people that were commenting. And so I would message them and I would talk to them. And if you have no clients whatsoever, you can basically take as many as you want, but you want to make it sound and look as exclusive as possible. And you also don't want to make it look as addy as possible. Like you don't want to make it look like an ad. It's basically you're just talking to people in this group. The other thing you have to realize is a lot of these groups will have like a specific business day that you can talk about your business. If you love a group, and you're just like, they don't have a business day, I'd recommend reaching out to the moderators or admin and like asking them, hey, do you guys want to come in for like a free facial or something if you're brand new, and like telling them like this is what you're wanting to offer, just so that they can have experience in. Now, if you're able to successfully do this, and I go into way more depth of this like in my course, my coaching students, stuff like that, but basically if you're able to successfully do this, you will be insanely surprised the amount of referrals that you will get from that esthetician group, because people are going to fall in love with you, and they're going to continue. When someone asks for a facial, they're immediately going to say your name. I mean, I even like 2 months ago got a tag. I haven't lived in Orlando for a hot minute. Got a tag saying Allison at I Am Day Spa is the best facial. I'm like, dog, I'm not even there anymore. And so I refer to somebody else. But here's the thing with the model calls. And let's first add, you can also do this on Instagram, like say your Instagram stories, something where you can make it where people can actually communicate with you that way as well. I had a student do this a few months ago, and she had 60 people messaging her about the services. Now, here's the thing. When you have people come in, okay, there's going to be a few things you can do. One, you're going to have to follow up with them more, because the lower the price, you're going to, the higher cancellation rate you're going to have. Okay. So you're going to want to be following up with people. Just expect it. Okay. Typically when I would follow up with people, I would still have about 3 out of 10 cancel on me. So it's still 7 that came in. But basically you're going to have people come in and you're going to act like that facial is a normal facial. Just because it's discounted does not mean it's not something that they deserve to have as like a normal one. This is where you're building that brand recognition. You're asking people, like, part of the service is that you're getting content. So like if they don't want to do it for that price, then that's fine. But you're asking them for content, testimonial, stuff like that. And you're asking them prior to them booking, like, hey, I'm going to take pictures of you. Is that okay? And if they're not, then that service just isn't for them. But basically you're getting testimonials, you're getting content, so videos, pictures, you're talking to them. Maybe you are doing a brand new service, or maybe it's not a new service. Whatever it is, you are acting as it is a just a normal client that's coming in. You treat this person like the queen that they are. You act like everything is normal. And you're going to talk to them about add-ons. So say it is a facial. Even if they're paying $30 for a service or what this service, you're going to talk to them about, you saw that they have peach fuzz on their face. You're going to be like, hey, have you ever done dermaplaning before? And you're going to charge full price for that dermaplaning. And then you're also going to talk to them about skincare. One of my best months, in my first like 6-7 months of being open, I did this. And I was having people buy $400-$500 in skincare, but they only spent, $30-$40 in the service, but they were spending that much money on skincare because they didn't spend it on a service, right? And then I would rebook them. And even like I was texting one of my clients, I did this with years ago, who's still like one of my best friends. And it's just crazy because you want to just make sure that you act like it's a normal service, that they're just going to get a discount. And then you're going to follow up with them about a testimonial. And then, okay, I hope that makes sense. Do you guys have questions about that? There's a lot more to it, but that is kind of the gist of it. Basically, you're making a conversation, you're making it something that sounds normal. And then when they do come in, it's like the best service in the world. Okay.
Because I agree with you. I do model calls still, especially because I'm training my girls. I send an invoice. So in my text message, I say to secure your spot, send the invoice. So whatever the
Perfect
is, if within 48 or between 72 and 48 hours, if the invoice is not paid, I call them, I text them, and I let them know, hey, the invoice needs to be paid because I don't want it. And if not, I'll go to the next model.
No, absolutely. That's brilliant because in reality, you'll definitely have, I'm going to actually write that down because that's great. But you'll have like a higher cancellation rate on it. But that's why I also recommend either if you're not booking them, to have them book through your website, but making sure that you're blocking off only dates that you want them to see. So for instance, say you're like, oh my gosh, I have barely any clients coming in, or you're brand new and you're like, I got to pay rent, right? Stuff's crazy. Stuff's happening. Then you want to make sure that you are like getting them booked within that week to 2 week frame, because anything past that, they're most likely not going to show up. So you want to make sure that you are doing that. Now, if you're just like overran with people, which is the goal, right? We want as many people get a message as possible. Which I never thought about Jotform before. I've always taught Google Form, but using Jotform or Google Form to collect people's like information so that you don't have to constantly, especially if it's all in Facebook Messenger, so that they can put it in the Google Form or their Jotform. And then as you kind of go through, can be like, hey, I, have a spot for a model call. I'm following up with you, even if it was like 2 weeks ago that you didn't have room for them and now you do, you can follow up with them. And you can always have tons of leads going through that day that are going through that way. My student I was talking about who had like 60 plus people, it was crazy. She messaged me, she's like, I'm still going through the Google Form. Like people are still, because you got to think she's booking them, they're rebooking. So she's filling up. Yep. And then she's filling up more. And it's like incredible. It's also really good if you do have a new employee, or maybe you really do have a new service. Like, well, I remember when I first brought jelly masks out, and I was just like, this is terrifying. I don't know if anybody's done jelly masks, but they're really hard. And I literally just asked people, like my clients, I was like, can you be a model for this? It's only $10 or $15 for what it was. And they're like, yeah. But the intention of this is, yes, you're only getting paid whatever the dollar amount is, a very much lower amount. The idea though is you're getting, especially as a new esthetician, but you're getting practice. Okay. We forget that we need practice. Maybe you want to try a new massage technique on their neck, a new gua sha or something. You're getting testimonials. People live on testimonials. They need to know that you're valid. They need to know that you're good. Okay. Before and afters, recording them. If you don't have a tripod, I was gonna show you my tripod. I don't know where it's at. If you don't have a tripod, get a cheap tripod and just record yourself at different angles. Still make it as relaxing as possible, but let them know that you are going to be recording. That way you have B-roll for like Instagram, and you have content to show that you're like real. Okay. Okay, we're gonna move on because I know we're kind of over. All right, so let's talk about part 4. It's for my introverted estheticians. Now, if you're like, oh my gosh, in real life events make me literally want to vomit, I would recommend kind of 2 things. 1, bring a friend with you, maybe more like an extroverted friend. Or two, there was, I don't know if you guys ever read this book called The 5 Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Recommend reading it, but basically you do something and you can do something in 5 seconds. I also always say, especially because I'm talking about my birth a lot, but like my baby a lot. But when I was in labor, I kept telling my husband, I was like, I can do anything for 10 seconds. So I would count for 10 seconds. And so I feel like when it comes to being like something you're scared in, you can do anything for 10 seconds. Maybe it's like a million 10 seconds, but you keep counting for 10 seconds. You can do anything for 10 seconds. So if you're nervous about maybe, doing like some type of live or going and doing a small pop-up, or even if you did as an introverted esthetician or an introverted person or a person who's extroverted who just doesn't want to do a lot of like in front of people, doing smaller groups. Instead of doing these massive things, doing a smaller group, maybe doing a coffee shop that, just has a few people coming in here and there, where it's not super like overwhelming. But if you don't want to do the face-to-face marketing, there are other ways you can do it, is using social media. But I think the thing is that when we do social media is that we think that because we posted one time that we're going to get clients, or that we posted one time we should have 10,000 followers. If you look at people who have hundreds and 100,000 followers, majority of the time they've been building their Instagram for a very long time. Okay. I've only consistently been building my Instagram, like for my business, for a little over a year. And I don't even have 10,000 followers yet, guys. And so it takes time. It takes time. Sometimes people pop off and they go viral, but it takes time. So my suggestion to you would be doing like small collabs, maybe doing like an Instagram live, or maybe doing something like this where you can, if you have like a friend or something who does like Zooms, or maybe they do like a massage, or not massage, like somebody who does yoga. Can you pop on and do like a special on like skincare, like doing something that's really just short and sweet that you can pop on for like a minute and then you can go throw up after. Okay. Like it's something that can be like, where it doesn't have to be super scary. The other parts are doing this collabs is, I mean, honestly, just from Maria tagging me in a lot of things, I've gotten followers directly from that. So thanks, guys. But in reality, is doing a collab with somebody who is with your dream client. Because you guys are my dream client, right? So finding somebody who's going to do a collab with you. And then obviously offering weekly value. Now, this is what's so important about those Facebook groups. When you are doing a model method, right? You are going to be dedicated to that Facebook group. That Facebook group is yours. You're becoming the esthetician of that Facebook group, because why are people not going to refer you? Why is not everybody not going to refer you as their esthetician, right? They are, obviously, because you are the esthetician of the group, meaning you have to show up. So I would honestly make it part of a marketing plan where you basically show up every single week asking questions or answering questions. Like instead of when someone's like, where's the best facial and blah, 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 who does this? If that's you, you comment and be like, this is who I am, girl, I'm going to go ahead and message you. And if I ever find out one of y'all are just like putting your information in there and walking away, I'm gonna freak out. No, the idea is build relationships. So you want to make sure that you are like, I'm going to go ahead and message you, add her as a friend on Facebook. You message her and you talk to her about her skincare needs. And obviously it's going to be that she needs to come see you naturally. Okay. But you have to build that relationship. Another great way to use those Facebook groups is to ask for help, meaning that if you are struggling with social media ideas as far as like, like content, or if you just need really that, maybe you write a blog or something, you could literally make a post that says, hey, I'm really, I'm having writer's block and I need some ideas for first, Instagram. What are y'all's top skincare questions, skincare concerns? Don't hold back. People want to help. People will be flooded. Then each person, you could talk to them in the comments, and they're going to put their skincare issue in there. So you can talk to them in the comments, and then eventually, if you wanted to, move it over to the slide right in them DMs. Make it natural, not weird, but like make it like a normal thing. It's something that you can absolutely just make it like a normal thing, that you just become the esthetician of that group, and you'll be like shooketh by the amount of people you have. And the cool thing is you don't have to go live or show your face or anything other than like a profile picture. Okay. All right. So automated funnels with a freebie, which would move into a nurture email sequence and a soft service pitch. Love this because you can legitimately create content and then be like, if you want more information on this, comment this, right? Setting up ManyChat, I would recommend do if you have like a where it's pretty active, setting up something like ManyChat is going to be very helpful for you. But you could literally create a freebie where you could just like have people be sent a PDF and then it automatically sends them into like a nurture sequence because you've received their information. And then it helps them, like, say you're an acne specialist, you know, your top 10 things to heal your acne. And of course, it's going to end with you, right? You're the acne specialist. So just making it super easy. And it's all behind the scenes, guys. I can't even tell you how many times I've met my new students or I've met clients or something like that where they would go through a nurture sequence and it was all behind the scenes. Like I created it one time and it just works itself. And then obviously creating like educational content, like blogs, email series, or short videos, something that you can make really quickly. I love to teach to my students that are introverted using B-rolls because you can literally have a video of something you're doing in the background or a service, and you could put like, you know, if you have dark circles under your eyes, read caption or something like that, you know, that relates to your dream client. And then it could go into about dark circles. And then you could have like DM this to get your dark circle treatment or get a freebie or something along those lines. But the goal of this is to connect with the right people without burning out your nervous system because it is so overwhelming if you're having to communicate with a million people at one time, especially if you are somebody who's introverted. And even as somebody who's excessively extroverted, I also still need that rest time. Like my husband, we've been going out like every day because he's had off. And today he was like, let's go. And I was like, no, I need to be alone. Like, let me reset. So just make sure you're still taking care of yourself. So something feels really big and really overwhelming, then we know just to edit it next time. Okay. Anybody have any questions about that? The chat's gone again, so I don't know. We went to the next one. All right, so let's talk social media more with strategy, not stress. All right, so this is where we need to just decide at the end of the day, what is the goal, okay? Because I want you guys to remember this. If you see an esthetician that say has, I don't know, 50,000 followers in your local area and you have 2,000, I want you to then look at her followers. How many of those people actually live in her area? And how many of those people are actually estheticians? So when you're going about comparing yourself to other people, try not to, because you literally have no idea who those actual followers, because I'd much rather have 2,000 followers that are my dream client than have 50,000 followers that are other estheticians. I mean, not for me, I want estheticians, please come follow me. But when it comes to as a solo esthetician, okay? But you want to understand like what your goal is in all this. So do you want to drive traffic to a booking page? If that's the case, let's look at your call to action in your bio. Does your bio say, hey, follow me because I'm going to support you? I'm going to help you with whatever your issue is? Or does it say like dog mom, 3 kids and Christian wife? Like we need to make sure if it is your business page, it needs to say exactly what you do. Okay. Or are you just trying to grow brand awareness? And growing brand awareness doesn't always necessarily come with getting new clients. It comes with showing people who you are. Maybe it's just you coming out every single day and just posting and just showing up who you are. That's it. And then it'll eventually turn into that because what we do today, you'll start seeing something in 3 months. So maybe you're just showing up. Maybe you are trying to build that trust and connection. So maybe you're doing things on your stories pretty frequently. Ask me questions. You know, this is who I am. This is my life. Like, what is that connection? Are you having conversations in your DMs? Are you encouraging people to talk to you? Like, what does that look like for you? Okay. Maybe you're trying to sell specific services or promotions. I can tell you my Instagram looks very different when I'm selling something, when I'm actively like trying to sell a new product or a digital course or something like that, than it does when I'm just trying to build with you and talk to you and build a community. So identifying what that goal is very, very important. So you're not like this and your brain's not like scattered everywhere. Okay. And then talk about content that converts. So reels that with a clear point. Now, the idea of reels with a clear point is understanding first who the heck you're talking to. Because if you're talking to every single person, you're talking to no one. So if you like are somebody who specifically is a niche in like darker skin tones, you want to specifically talk to them. Okay. Same thing if you're somebody who specifically does like Brazilians. I had a student, which I thought was just such an incredible idea. She specifically worked on women that were like larger, that specifically did Brazilians, okay? And she was like, they were stressed out about sweat and smell and stuff like that. And she was like, I niched down to make them feel comfortable, to make them. So she became that person that those women went to because she was that safety net. She had a clear point to all of her reels. I hope that makes sense because it's like you understand specifically who you're talking to. Like, so if you're like, maybe you're somebody who does lashes and they're super dramatic. What kind of people or who are those people that wear those kind of lashes? And just identify that and then make sure that like you're kind of testing that out. And honestly, understand that sometimes it can take a long time for reels to pop off. It also can take a long time for your algorithm, the Instagram algorithm, to understand who you're talking to. So if you're kind of bouncing all over the place with who you're talking to, the algorithm's like, I don't know who I'm supposed to show this to. Okay. At this point, the algorithm, I rarely ever get somebody follow me that's not an esthetician because the algorithm at this point is like, she's talking to them. Okay. All right. And then behind the scenes content, people want to see that. People want to see that. So show what you got, like doing laundry. Show people that. If you're making those samples, show people that. Show people you getting ready for a vendor event. Show people you taking off your makeup or putting on your skincare in the morning. People love that. Doing any type of facts is great. People also want to be educated. Do you know a lot of people don't know how to wash their face? They don't. Teach people how to wash your face. And remember, if you're following a bunch of estheticians, know that those estheticians probably aren't going to see your content. The people that should be seeing your content should be your potential clients. So you want to make sure that you're showing up for the person that's following you, not for the people that you're following. Okay. And of course, before and afters and client reactions and stuff like that. And then Facebook groups, again, seriously, local community groups. If you can get into a networking group, if you can do like, if you type in like go into Facebook events, you would typically see like things that are going on around you. But those are some of my stuff right here. I feel like I saw the chat come up, then it went away. Oh, this is great. Thank you. Use of the 5 second. Oh, yeah, the 5 second. Well, the 5 second rule. So, well, it's a 5 second rule by Mel Robbins. It's a book. And then I personally have the 10 second rule where I can do anything for 10 seconds. So basically the 5 second rule is that you're like really scared to post something, to do something. You're like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like blast off. And then you just get up and do it. The 10 second rule is that I can suffer for 10 seconds. I can be terrified for 10 seconds and I will survive. And then those 10 seconds start again. Okay. You ever been, and I really mastered this with, I'm bring up my daughter again, when she was in the newborn stage. And I was just like, you're just dying, right? You're just like, oh my God. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know how I can do this, but I can do it for 10 seconds. I don't even know how many hours went by with 10 seconds. So when you can apply that to like things that are scary in your life or really, really hard, like you have to hold your tongue for 10 seconds, or you have to, talk about a consultation with somebody that's really scary for 10 seconds. That's kind of that method. I hope that answers that question. Does anybody have any questions about that? I know we're like super over, aren't we? Oh my gosh. Told you this was a lot, guys. All right. So, Maria, did you have some?
No. So this is going to be sent out via newsletter. We have the freebie links already. And I know someone had said that the newsletter isn't going out. We did send one out this week. I will resend it out right now, the one from the first two weeks. So if you guys do not receive it by 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, just post it in the group, like on the feed. I haven't received it yet because I need to figure out what to do. I'm struggling without my virtual assistant. I don't know where she is.
Right.
But I have 2 more that I just brought on the team. So I've been bringing them in. What is it called when you bring them in? Anyways.
Onboard them?
Onboarding them. Yeah. Jazzy word. Thank you guys for being here. I would love to know, how are you guys doing with your menus, policy, procedures, and then your homework?
Wait, guys, hold on, Maria. Are you going to show them? Can everybody like take a picture of this really quickly though, before we log off? Because this is last part, is like the promo.
Promo planning.
Yeah, this was just like the last part. I know we're like super over. I didn't realize, so there's a lot of information in marketing. But like taking a picture, just take a picture of this because a promo prep basically answers these questions. So if you want to do like promotion or something like that, that will answer that.
And
so
I
everybody
would
see that.
love for you guys to utilize the chat. That way I feel like if we're sharing what we're doing, we're motivating people. And that's what it's about.
Absolutely. Okay. And then, okay, lastly, putting it all together once you guys, because I know we need to log off, but putting it all together, your 6-month marketing plan, guys, is once again, focus on what your main goal is, how you want to retain people. And then if you're going to do promotion, what does that look like for you? Okay. And then how will you show up online? I think that's something important is if you show up consistently, that's going to help a lot. So here's like an example for September, okay? And you can see like it's not super overwhelming, but it just kind of goes over this. I actually want to show you guys an example because somebody asked me this a while ago, and then Maria, I promise I will.
No?
Oh no. Come on. There we go. That's it. So this is my personal a weekly marketing strategy, but creating something. What is this yellow? Do you all see that?
Mm-mm.
There's like a yellow line on my screen. Anyways, there's a weekly marketing strategy. I literally created this so every single day I will hop on and I will look, okay, so today is Monday. So I make an Instagram reel and I'm sending out my newsletter and any last week's content to my people. Same thing with this. Maybe you're doing an Instagram reel, but then this is the day you interact with a Facebook group. Because at the end of it all, when you are like so overwhelmed, you don't know what to do, and you're like, oh my gosh. So if you actually have like a laid out strategy of what it looks like, then you're going to be able to identify like the exact thing you're supposed to do that day. And if you're doing it every single day, every single week, and keeping up with it all, y'all, I can even tell you the momentum you're going to begin to have, it just takes that time, especially when you start something new. So you have to just stay consistent. Okay. But just show up as much as you possibly can. But, oh, I hope that was okay. And I think at the end of the day, we're at the end of this, right? Do you want me to go back in?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, team.
Like a homework.
Sorry. I think though that was actually the last page.
Okay, well, homework is please use the chat. I promise I'm going to try to send it out again. I did send it out last Friday, the last 2 weeks replay. I will send it out again. Everything is on our YouTube. So the Money Making SD, all the other 2 seasons are on our YouTube. If for some reason you did not receive it, which is here, I'm putting it in the link. So please take a minute to work on your menus if you need to catch up and your policies and procedures. Ask questions in the chat. And then next week, we're going to be talking about systems.
Yay.
Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Yes, bye.
Bye.